Hi, this is David Taylor, and welcome to the first of my chats with interesting people. Today I'm talking to Irene Vaxberg, who is a Russian lady born in Russia and immigrated to the United States when she was young. There became a hairdresser, and through a series of uh, events, notably two car crashes, ended up with quite severe nerve damage and was able to find a way to help that. Now, the reason I'm doing this chat is because somebody had noted that her difference between when she's not wearing the tech that we're going to talk about and uh, when she does put it on is so incredibly different that she might be putting it on or acting somehow. And I wanted to address that by talking to her directly. So what I'm going to do just now is show you the video of uh, that she has shot to show the difference, so that you at least know what we're talking about, and then we'll welcome Irene.
So this is what happens to me when I don't have my technology on. So I'm holding this incredible patch that gives me quality of life back. 1 second. Without this, Mother's Day is not possible. Well, life is not possible. I don't think I could ever make these videos without crying. What's the matter?
Okay, so you can see quite some difference, and I think it's absolutely amazing. So, without further ado, let's move to the interview and let's talk to Irene. Okay, good evening. This is David Taylor, and I am today privileged to welcome Irene Vaxberg to speak to me. I'm doing the first of what I hope will be a series of uh, chats with interesting people, I've decided to call it, and Irene is my first interesting person. I reached out to her as a result of a question that somebody had sent in to, it was another question and answer session, and they had suggested that Irene was acting in her testimonial. And I reached out to Irene to ask about that. Not that I didn't believe her, but because I wanted to find out what her thoughts were and if it had happened before. I should point out the person that actually didn't suggest that. It was somebody that had said to her after watching the video. Now, knowing the video, and I'll probably attach one of them to this video, but the reaction is so extreme that it's really easy to see why they might think that. So without further ado, first of all, welcome Irene and say thanks very much for joining me on this.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
And I'm delighted as well. I've been advised by Irene to slow down because I have a thick Scottish accent, and she's got a semi-thick Russian accent. So this, either people watching this will not understand either of us, or it'll be fun. So we know the videos that we're talking about, and some of your videos have been so extreme. The difference between before having the tech on and after the tech on, it's really easy to see why that happened. But let me first ask, so what was your life like? You know, there was the kind of defining moment that, you know, you kind of, with a car crash that you can talk about. What was life like before that, before your defining moment?
So before the car accident, my life was super amazing. I was running a successful business. I'm a hairdresser for 36 years now. Built an incredible business. I have two beautiful daughters, bunch of grandkids. I traveled the world, lived life to the fullest, went salsa dancing 3 times a week, hiked 3 times a week, happy hours. Like, it was amazing. Like I built a beautiful life for myself. And, you know, anything that I wanted or needed, I had it. Was part of amazing nonprofit organizations. I got here for canned foods. I did lots of community. That's how I lived my life prior to this, with, you know, with mission, purpose, and passion. And through here, I helped a lot of women to build their self-esteem and find their mission and purpose and passion. So my life was really full of beautiful things and beautiful people.
And then?
And then I was turning 43. Yes, 43. I'm 51 now. So 7 years ago, I was on the way to go home and change and go to a party to celebrate my birthday with some of my customers and friends. Instead of, I ended up in ER.
Right.
Yes, a gentleman fell asleep behind the wheel and T-boned us. And I was in the passenger seat.
I love how you still call him a gentleman.
Well, he was really, you know, I felt bad for myself, and I felt bad for him. I called him a gentleman because he actually, I didn't expect to cry so fast. He actually showed remorse. You know, he was a visitor from a different country. He came on vacation, and, you know, like, he was tired. He had jet lag. I bring, you know, I shared this story so much, and it still brings tears to my eyes, because that was a defining moment of my life and his, right? He came on this beautiful vacation to Los Angeles, and he created this horrible experience for himself and me. He actually offered to go to the hospital with me. That's why the way he handled it, he was a gentleman. He apologized profusely, and at that moment my life changed on so many ways. At that moment, we did not know the severity of my damage and the pain I was about to go through. That's okay. It's just, you know, I always think I'm going to do these interviews and share my story, and I don't have any more tears, but
yeah,
it's, you know, it's tears of joy and tears of sadness and tears of the most darkest moment of my life and the most brightest, but I'll get to it. So anyway, emergency room, left a couple of weeks later. The pain was horrendous. It took 3 years to figure out that I had a lumbar tear. It took about a year to figure out that I had damage L1, L2, L4, L5. The way the car hit me was 90 degrees. That's how I was sitting. So everything, all the damage was 90 degrees. So the space between the vertebrae, that's how I was told, created this little bubbles of water or air maybe even, and the nerve isn't there. So it was pressing. And there was no options for surgery, because if they burst the bubble, they could paralyze me. It took almost 5 years to figure it out that I had sympathetic nerve damage. So I live with neuropathy, you know, the burning sensation of my body, the numbness of my feet. I didn't feel my feet. Half of my feet is like literally was sliced. The little toe and the 3 thick toes for at least 6 months to a year, did not feel them, like numb. So I lived on epidurals and cortisone shots and sympathetic nerve block. I lived on Oxycontin, Vicodin, Norco. I lost 70% of my business. Who wants to come to a hairdresser that shakes, right?
I've seen your shakes, and I asked you, have you still got all your fingers as a result? I mean, for goodness sake.
Yeah, I know. It was a very difficult time, and that happened 2 years into my car accident. So the body, the way it was explained to me by a doctor that finally kind of gave me a clue, was that the brain was on overload from pain. It could not fight it anymore. So it created this mechanism of shaking to protect, I guess, the body or the brain from pain, but it created more pain. And he said he saw some of these kind of shakings when people go through cancer treatments, like, you know, chemotherapy, right? So he prescribed a compound medicine to calm down my brain. It did nothing. So I lived like that for 3 years. I was a prisoner of my body. I only went to work because people understood there. And if I start shaking, they all kind of start shaking with me. So I don't look weird. And my customers that was left also understood that, you know, it might take a minute to cut their hair. It was a very difficult moment. I really, 2 years ago, didn't really want to live. I couldn't imagine living life like that. And, you know, when doctors tell you there's no hope, they can't do anything for me. We can give you a prescription for epidural and cortisone shots and here's some meds.
You just believe them as well, don't you? Because you assume that they know everything that's out there.
Yeah, and I mean, I just like, what do you do at that moment when doctor said, get used to this is your life, right? And, you know, faith get lost, right? How much can you pray? I'm a spiritual person. I'm not a religious person. And I'm like, well, why me? Maybe I should become a religious person. You know, you go through all these different things that you're just trying to hold on to something. And, you know, I just prayed, even though I didn't believe in it, right? I hold on to those little glimpses of hope and delight, even though I didn't see it. And, you know, I was the victim. I played the victim. And I saw my daughter suffering. So I said, for her sake, I have to put myself together. You know, it doesn't affect just us, right? It affects the whole family. Everybody suffers when people that you live with chronic pain. It's not just about you. It's about the extended family, the extended friends. How many times do you cancel before they stop calling, right? My daughter was 11 and she saw me struggle. You know, she dressed me, undressed me. She basically was my give care person.
Yeah.
So for her sake, I had to find the strength to fight this and put a smile on her face. And actually, because of her, I started fighting. Because it was just for me, I didn't really care much because, again, doctors gave me no hope. And somehow, you know, I'm like, okay, I have to make the best of it. Okay, yes, this is what I got. And figure it out, Irene. And I have a best friend, Kim, that has MS. And she was my rock. Even though she was going through all kinds of stuff, I would call her crying and go, oh my God, I can't do this anymore. And her words was, my mission is to help you. Before I die, I will find some sort of solution for you. And she was Googling more natural or so now invasive products or treatments for MS. And she stumbled on this woman, her name is Rebecca, that just came from a wellness event and found this crazy socks.
About Rebecca Naylor, no doubt.
Exactly, yes. And
she's on my list. Get you soon,
yes.
Rebecca.
Rebecca, yes. I don't say her last name because I never can pronounce.
Same as mine, but with an N.
Yeah, Rebecca with the N. And so my friend tried the socks and, you know, she saw some results, not so results. It took her a little bit to figure out what it does. And she's like, Irene, I found this crazy product. It might help you. And she goes, there's socks. I'm going to send it to you. I'm like, please don't send me anything. I don't want to try anything else. I'm over it. I need to finish my case. I was planning to go to trial. I said, I can't think about new gadgets. And, you know, it's not that I didn't want to, it's just, I didn't want to be disappointed again.
Oh, yeah.
It's the hope, right?
If you get hope and then that hope is taken away from you, it must be, yeah. I felt that to a lesser extent, but when it's as big as that, I can understand.
Yeah, so I'm like, you know, I'm going to get my epidural. I need to go to Europe with my daughter. There's a 18-hour flight to Amsterdam from LA, and then we were going to Los Angeles. I mean, we were going to Paris. After that, I said, I need to make sure that I am, you know, as good as I can, and the epidural is only that does that for me for a short period of time. And so she sends me the socks anyway.
Come on, we're getting to the good bit.
So she sends me the socks anyway, and the funny part was they were too big.
Oh.
On top of everything else, they were too big. So, you know, the tack was not where it's supposed to be, and they would just fall off. And I'm like, I'm not going to use them. I'm going to send them back to you. Meantime, I'm Googling Rebecca Knowles' video, and I see what happens to her. You know, her body doesn't work. You've seen the video, right? And I felt like with the shaking, I had no control of myself, and I couldn't walk. You know, I freeze. I don't know if you've seen those videos, that my body just kind of froze. And I said, well, it might not help me, but I know I can help other people because I've been in chronic pain group for so long, and all these different issues and the stability of it. And I'm like, okay, this is really cool, not knowing anything about it. I get my socks. It was a couple of days before my birthday. How ironic. Life-changing. You know, there's no coincidence. The whole journey was supposed to begin that way, end that way. And I put the right pair on, and my shaking stops. The pain, like literally within 30 minutes, I don't feel the pain because there's no shaking. I sat there for 20 minutes taking them off and putting them back on because I did not believe what I was witnessing. You know, it was just such an incredible emotional roller coaster, those 20 minutes. And I called my dear friend, I'm like crying, laughing. She's like, are you on the floor again? And she's like, in Florida, do I need to call 911? I'm like, no. Again, remember I said I'm not a religious person, and I said Jesus just came down and kissed my feet. She's the religious person, and we both cried and we both laughed, and I couldn't even believe what just happened. And I was so nervous and excited and so afraid I didn't take them off for a week until I got my pairs, you know, second pair. Because the moment I would take them off, I would violently shake. Yeah. You know? So, yeah, it was, my goodness, it was a roller coaster. And it continued to be a roller coaster, because then I realized that I have to share this technology, and I had to be open to showing people the worst of me, right? I mean, I live in LA. It's only the best of you. Yeah. Not that I don't really care, but, you know, like the image of where, you know, and my first testimony was really difficult because I had to share my depression, my anxiety, loss of faith, loss of hope. And then the bullying began on top of everything that I'd been through. People told me that I was a fabulous actress, that I deserve an Oscar. And I get it. Because if I didn't experience it myself, I probably would think the same thing, because it's such an incredible change, and it happens so fast for me.
It's amazing that you just done. It really is amazing.
It's just putting one sock on. We didn't even have the patch on yet, right? We didn't even have a patch out when I began the journey. We only had insoles and we only had socks. And I couldn't wear the insoles because I wear the special shoes, and I had to be connected 24/7 to it anyway. And yeah, the bullying, the name calling, the aggression. And I said, I have to get a brain map. I
Yeah.
have to get it done. The only way I can prove it is by showing how this technology works. So I flew to Denver, did my first brain mapping. It was incredible. This way, when people bullied me, I would say, please watch it, and here's the facts.
That's,
And then,
I'm really, really disappointed in people that they would bully you for that. Yes, you're not that good an actor. I don't know if
yeah,
anybody is. I mean, for goodness sake, it's, credit to you,
even,
but
even doctors said, oh, really, you shake that way? And I would go to them, can you please shake this way? Like,
mm,
if you could do this, physically like that, because it was so bizarre. They
mm,
didn't, and I went to some top doctors, right? But
mm,
because it was so different, they couldn't grasp and put a finger on it. They said it's mental, it's emotional, it's post-traumatic stress disorder. Yes, it's all of those things. But why do I have a burning sensation when you do your stupid neurological test? Why does my body trigger shaking, right?
mm,
Like, let's think out of the box a little bit. So, but, and the end of the day, they said, there's no hope that it can help me. They don't understand it. And
mm-hmm.
go see a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
I've seen those too.
Mm,
So, yeah. And so when the patch came out, and you can see how quickly I put it on, it's 7 seconds. I mean,
yeah.
if you literally it takes 7 seconds.
With you, it's less. With you, it was about 1.
No, it wasn't one. Really, truly wasn't one. I mean, and just remember, I've also worked the technology for almost a year and a half. So the
Yeah.
brain has already been balanced tremendously. So
It's like
everything
the body
connects.
goes, that's better.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
still 7 seconds, because if you ever experience the patch in the demo or our technology, your balance changes in 7 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what happens to people? They see this incredible thing that, again, so unbelievable that it stops the shaking. It's almost unreal. It's hard to believe. So it's also hard to hope, right? So
Yeah.
there's so many underlying levels, especially people with pain. I understood it only after the fact, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I went and did another brain mapping, the follow up, to show here's my progress. This is why I can do what I do. This is why it was. And the first brain mapping was more for the bully people that bullied me. They said, this is fake. You're preying on people that is suffering pain. I am suffering with them.
Yeah.
To show. And the second was for me, just
Yeah.
to have that confirmation that, yes, this is life changing. And it is a life changing, because how I explain how I lived prior to it, and I had everything. All my dreams were accomplished. All my goals were accomplished. I lived my life incredibly. And to that, before the car accident, right, I accomplished all my buckets list.
Mm-hmm.
And financial stability and savings, and I never had to worry about anything financially. And now it's opposite. But I'm living a truer, happier life than ever. Like, what this car accident brought to me is a gift of life. And
Yeah.
I know it sounds really bizarre, but from something so horrible, something so beautiful is happening in my life. The people that I've met, the life has changed, right? The healing that happened to me and with me, it's priceless. It's priceless.
I hear about people talking about things like that all the time. I read Michael J. Fox's book where he calls his Parkinson's disease his gift, because it's brought him and his wife closer. He's learnt more about himself. So it's not unusual to hear people talk about a bad thing that they've come out of as being overall a good thing. So it's great that you did that, and that you're now able to share what you've got with other people. And that's why I wanted to speak to you, because I can see that you're not acting, and for other people to suggest that, I find really difficult to take. It surprises me that there are people out there that would suggest that. And I get that people are skeptical, but to be skeptical to that level where they become rude. I don't get.
Well, you know, also when you see somebody putting a sock on, they don't understand it's not a sock, right? We know what we have, right? We understand the technology, right? We understand what it does. But, you know, if it's just putting a sock on, right? You know, it's just,
you get the funky ones.
People, right? Most people just think it's, you know, how can a sock do? But we don't sell socks. We share technology, right? So it, you know, it's the knowledge, right? And I used to get so angry, and you know, I would cry about it, but you know, because people don't know me and they're judging me, right?
Yeah.
Like that. But you know, I understand where they come from. I even talk about it in some of my videos. If I didn't experience it myself, I wouldn't believe it. And I didn't believe it for a year myself when I put the product on and I stopped shaking. I'm like, holy shit, pardon me for my
Being a Scottish person, I've never heard such language.
So yeah, I get it. So I don't take it personally, but you know, it's a healing process, right? I looked at my car accident as the end of me. Like I lost 70% of my business that I worked so hard for. And I was like, this is the end of me. What am I going to do? How am I going to live? How am I going to survive? This is who I am. I'm a hairdresser. Still am a hairdresser, but now I have a bigger mission.
Yeah.
And so when I looked at, well, God had something more for you, and he made space that you can share Vox technology now. So I had to, in my mind, had to change that visual of my appointment book being booked 3 months in advance and had a waiting list to being almost empty, right? And acknowledge the loss in order to be able to accept the gift of Vox. So there's a lot of making room, but it's not easy, right? It's a 7-year healing process, an adventure of every time I share my story, it's a healing process. So, you know, these are the tears of hope, right? I mean, it's just.
And soon you're going to be sharing the stage with the inventor as well, aren't you? So.
Yeah, and you know, that's a funny story actually. When I received my socks, and I didn't have a story, right? I didn't have a testimony, but I know what I got was life-changing. And I wrote down, and I said, I'm going to share my testimony with the, I just claimed it. Never, you know, did I think it was going to happen? I don't know. I mean, I met him personally and thanked him personally, but I always wanted to be part of an event that he's there and I'm there and I'm speaking and sharing how much this man has changed my life. So I'm super excited. That's going to happen in Denver on April 4th.
Yeah, well, you certainly deserved it. So you're now sharing it with other people. So have you seen any major changes in the people that you've shared it with? I mean, what's been your best customer testimonial?
There's just so many. Just the other day, I sent a pair of socks and some patches. This woman's been depressed and had neuropathy for 18 years. And her message on my Facebook was just like I'm done. I want to die. I don't want to live. And I've been talking to her for a year and a half, sending her free product. Within 24 hours, she went from 5 miracles to 3. For the first time in many, many years, she was able to speak to her sister an hour and a half on the phone and not have a nervous breakdown. That's how she told me. She said the most incredible thing that's happened to her now is 7 days is she's smiling, she's laughing. The anxiety, the depression, the fog sort of disappeared. But I have hundreds of those things. I had one, a little boy's autistic, and he walks on tippy toes. 15 years old. First time, mom put the socks on. Within a few minutes, she saw him the first time flat foot on the floor. So I can go on and on and on.
Yeah.
Every day, these miracles happen. Every day, I get messages saying, "Thank you, Irene, for sharing this technology.
Mm-hmm.
I sleep better. I walk better. I don't have any pain. My husband can stand on his feet 15 minutes longer." It's a consistent blessings and miracles every single day.
Yeah. So another thing, I've got a list of questions I want to ask people because these are the ones that interest me. What's your favorite opening line when people say to you, "So what's this?"
Oh, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
I tell them this is a life-changing technology. Would
Mm-hmm.
you like to know more about it?
Good one. Good one. Most common objection. What's your most
So,
common objection?
people go, socks do this?
Mm-hmm.
No, they're not socks. They're wearable technology.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing, I'm not paying $35 for socks. Well, and then I go, well, you're not buying socks. You're buying technology.
Mm-hmm. That is probably the most common couple of objections. And I was speaking to Terry about that in my objections session, and that's exactly it. And he's I love the way he talks about these things. It's just, he says you must have misunderstood. It's not socks. It's technology that's delivered within a sock.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's the kind of thing. Any advice for anyone considering joining the mission? Any advice for new associates?
Go for it.
Mm-hmm.
It will change your life. The journey is so incredible. It's actually priceless. It's not you will make money, right? But
Yeah.
you're going to change lives. I get emotional because this is emotional journey for me. And this company is emotional for me, meaning it
Mm-hmm.
gave me my life back. So I tell people, join me. I need you to help me share this incredible technology. The rewards that you will reap is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
The change in your life that you're going to see from this incredible technology and the lives around you is going to just empower you in your own spiritual journey. If you don't have one, you will have one, because this is kind of, it's not even a business, it's a mission. It's a powerhouse. You
Mm-hmm.
will be part of an incredible team of people that see life as helping others, right? So my pitch it's very on an emotional level because that's what it's done for me. So I come with heart first, and then I talk about the money opportunity.
Yeah, that's how it
That's
should.
kind of how I approach it. But everybody should be part of this incredible journey. It's the best investment in yourself and in others you're going to make.
Yeah, it's
It's
amazing.
like, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So if you've lost hope and you don't know your why, and you need to find passion or mission, you need to join us.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll close off by saying thanks very much for joining me. This is I've really enjoyed this, and I hope everyone could understand me.
And me.
And you, yeah. So last thing I want to do, just leave you the final minute to yourself. How do people get in touch with you? How can they find out more? And anything else you want to say? Over to you.
Oh, well, thank you guys. I appreciate this time and letting me share my journey. And I'm sorry my puppy is going nuts. I'm sorry.
Needing out?
Oh my goodness, I'm sorry about that. And if
That's
you
okay.
would love to get in touch with me, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube. I'm more than happy to share more of my story. Whatever you need, I'm very accessible. Messenger, so it's Irene Vaksberg, VAKSBERG.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty easy to find. Everything is public.
It's also written under your picture there. It's on the screen there so people can see it.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, David, and I hope to do this again with you.
That was lovely. It'd be nice to have a follow-up. Thanks, everyone, and we'll join you in the next one.